All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Gifted didn't wear his Mutant Ape Yacht Club jersey, so I got to wear mine today. We're having ourselves a good time. It's the start of the week. It's a Monday. We're covering the Web3 and NFT space, all the latest news, all the latest meme coins, if you will, here on the network, on the Web3 network. I'm sitting here with Gifted, legendary DGen himself. What's up, brother? How you doing today?
I don't know if I'm legendary or infamous or any of that yet, but like I feel like I'm on my way, the way that I've been living my life the last couple of years. Just keeps getting better.
Well, specifically the last, I think, week? The last week you've had a run. You've had a DJ. This is the real question, guys. We have obviously the thumbnail. It says Memecoin Summer. Is it Memecoin Summer? Is the meme coin trend going to continue? I would be remiss if I didn't look back at DeFi Summer and say it lasted longer than what's happening with meme coins right now. So across the market, folks, everything's down, but meme coins are definitely down over the last 8-9 hours. This has to last, and that's going to be the question that we get to, though. Not financial advice, but dude, you've been on a run the last week.
I don't know if I've been on anything other than just like crazy juice. Look, we're out here, we're speculating. It's the gold rush, you know. Probably though, most people are going to lose their asses, and it's going to be the people making and selling the picks and shovels that do well. You know. So I'm very aware of the fact that this could go very, very wrong for me. And who knows? Maybe this is the moment when it all it all becomes not worth it anymore. Or I just made some like epically big moves that are going to pay off and be tremendous, and I'm going to look like a really smart person. But I'm not banking on that. We'll see.
Yeah. Before we get to what GIF is talking about, I want to definitely say up front, because this is going to be Memecoin Summer, this is seriously not financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Do not take what we say and do any type of trade and in your life based on what we are doing up here on screen and in our lives. So again, this is not financial advice. So yeah, be safe out there, kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of picks and shovels, Gifted, Jared from Subway has been raking it in. Jared from Subway.eth, the famous now Mev bot that is basically, upcharging everybody on gas. So if gas is high and you're having trouble either selling an NFT, buying meme coins, Jared from Subway has a lot to do with that. He's increasing the transactions on Ethereum by at least a factor of 2. Right, like he's doubling up the transactions here because it feels like he's sandwiching every single meme coin to kind of take out some meat there. But anyways, Gif, what did you have there?
Oh, I was going to double down on the fact that none of this is financial advice and do the whole thing. This is all publicly available internet information. These are just, the statements of the Web3 team, personal opinions of ours, and we're not financial advisors, and do your own research. So, yeah, and the Jared was a pedo, weird name. I agree. It's strange. This space is strange, but you know what? Again, memetics.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense. This space it kind of honestly runs on anti-logic a lot of times, right? It's a lot of internet culture is literally about sticking a finger in the eye of the status quo and like what you're supposed to do, and trying to thwart the matrix or whatever that means, right? It's the institutions that govern our lives. It's kind of like using the internet and our memes as like warfare to fight back sometimes against what everybody expects us to do.
You know my favorite quote, right?
No, please.
Do you want to be right?
Tell the class.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to make money? I've said that multiple times in the show. To your point, no other industry operates on do you want to be right or do you want to make money more than the crypto space, where PE ratios do not come into existence. All of these things, it's all based on momentum. It's based on speculation. It's based on every other thing except what logic tells you is the right thing to be checking out on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of the time and also, you can look at like in the NFT space, what does this look like? A lot of times the projects that are the ugliest do the best. Goblin Town, You know what I mean? Like, why did Goblin Town do well? It was just like a big fuck you to everything, right? But anyway, shout out to these amazing people showing up here and chat with us right now. Big love to y'all. Prodigy Choina. Prodigy, I did see your request, but it was too late. Sometimes, like, I'm just sitting there logged on a lot of times, so you gotta you gotta message me and let me know when you want to play so that I'm ready. Because I missed your requests, but I would love to play some Rocket League with you, my guy, and I appreciate it.
All right, so this is the deal. We do not have a ton of news for today. It felt like a sleepy week in NFTs. A lot of that has to do with the state of the market, but a lot of it has to do with the gas prices as well. NFC statistics. I always fuck up his name. I seriously like statistics. I cannot say with a straight face. Do we know
it's a he?
Yeah. He does a proof podcast. Okay. We know it's a he. Come on, man. I do my research here on this channel. But NFT statistics has showed some good visuals of some data in the NFT space, basically saying that the NFT space still wrecked from a volume standpoint. We got some blend pieces as well. We've got some Oni Force to cover. We have Kusama and Bitcoin NFTs are popping up. That's an interesting alpha play. I don't think we'll dive into it on this channel, but I'd love to interview those who are either within Kusama or Arbitrum or these other blockchains where you can have activity and a lot of people don't know what's going on there. That's usually where the alpha is found. But anyways, that is kind of the format for today. We're gonna hit some quick news up front. We're gonna touch on Memecoin Summer. But let me look at the prices real quick because we're pretty wrecked here in like the last I would say 7 hours. We were kind of trending upwards. ETH was settling around 2K, Bitcoin 28, 29. ApeCoin was doing fairly well around $4, but now sits at 340. So we've been covering multiples of these. Arbitrum's down 14%. What are some others that we cover on a
Well, let me also say something right now. Again, none of this is financial advice, but I think ApeCoin is in an interesting place to be buying. And again, some people outside of the US, if you're outside of the US, you can stake ApeCoin. So might be a decent place to be buying some ApeCoin and stacking that. And
Yeah, we obviously do own some ApeCoin as well, so I want to throw that in there. All right, when I'm looking at CoinGecko here as well, I am looking at primarily the two major meme coins have been what I would say is Turbo and PEPE, right? And PEPE I think recently got listed on Coinbase.
No.
PEPE didn't get listed on Coinbase, or you can.
No, everybody's waiting. No, it got listed on Binance.
Okay, so
but everybody's waiting and anticipating.
Okay,
so it gets listed on Coinbase.
What I looked at was the custody. So the answer that I got back was that you could custody PEPE with Coinbase, which maybe is like the prerequisite to being listed on Coinbase.
That makes sense. I think that's how they build an LP, right?
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, if they can build up some liquidity through custody, that's probably what they want to do first.
Yeah, and one interesting thing on this point, because this has been an excellent learning experience. I'm learning as I do, right? I learn just by doing, and a lot of times that's I make big mistakes, but I learn, right? So I am definitely learning a lot more about altcoins through this whole process of getting deeper into it. And so one of the things that I've learned is about a little bit more about liquidity pools and a little bit more about how to analyze and understand the qualities of an altcoin or what makes them a better bet than another one, using DEX tools a little bit more. But it's been interesting to see a lot of people have been coming out fudding PEPE, saying the top 10 wallets hold 20% or some large percent of the total liquidity of PEPE coin. Oh, look, this is a bad thing because they can just dump it anytime. But apparently those people don't understand that a lot of those big wallets are exchanges because they need liquidity pools. It's you don't even understand that you have to hold these liquidity pools somewhere in a wallet somehow. And that's why it's you get some of these large wallets at the top end, because a lot of them are actually exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
That's DeFi for you, right? It's you've got to host liquidity pools in a wallet somewhere. And that obviously can be that's where a lot of the weakness can come in if that's not done well. And now you get into things like renouncing contracts or, locking up your liquidity in certain ways. So it's a whole, it's a whole new fascinating part that I haven't been as deep into, that I'm learning more about. And so, I'm excited to talk more about that with you, because it seems like you probably know more than I do.
Well, this before NFTs existed, this was existence. You know what I mean? So when you talk about there not being culture, and you talk about there not being all these things like communities, this is what it was. It was just like shitcoins, and like some of them did some things in the ICO era, but you still had the the trading aspect of like, hey, I'm just buying and selling these, no matter if they're trying to be the next decentralized Uber or decentralized Spirit Airlines or what have you. Like those were the dreams that were sold. Was literally we'll decentralize anything you can think of, decentralizing food processing, decentralizing restaurants. Everything was sold as an ICO, in the same way that there's now meme coins being created and all these things. And then DeFi Summer happened in 2020, and that looks more analogous to this. That was, but instead of being around memes, they were essentially around different pools, like you're saying, where you could like extract yield very quickly, and like some genius level teams were able to sell their product and be like, hey, we're check out Yam Coin, we have all these really cool tokenomics, and you could earn a percentage yield. And that's how they all popped off. But the DeFi Summer looks very analogous to what's happening right now with everybody getting their knowledge upped.
Yeah. So I mean, then I'm curious, right? Like, what are your real honest takes, and like where you think all this is going? Shout out Quantum Variant, one Lambo. Not anytime soon, fam. And then Prodigy. I don't know what. Sorry, Choina. I don't know what the MEV blocker RPC is about. MEV blocker. Maybe that's like something to help avoid scams. More and more.
The MEV bots are the ones that are sandwiching transactions to make it so you are not getting what you actually paid for. So I didn't know you could actually install a MEV.
They're like forcing more slippage into the transaction, or taking arbing live, on your live trades.
Yes. They're like taking a little piece of the trade, which is not what
MEV blocker. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. And yeah, I'm curious how to install that properly.
All right, so here. So long term, right? Yeah. So Yam was a huge DeFi. All of these happen to be like foods. So all of the DeFi pools that had some type of yield. I'm so excited for the people that were sushi. I'm so excited for the people that were a part of that system. Like if you were here then, let me know any others. But every chart's likely gonna look like this, right? So you have like a period of intense runs. So Yam was fairly early. They were one of the first. So this is December. Right, so you saw moves, or no, this is January 21. But summertime, why we call it DeFi Summer, was really the times where this all kind of popped off. Interestingly enough, that doesn't look like that. Was this 2020? Am I thinking of 2020? So the chart doesn't even show it. I think that's what the problem is. Let's go back.
How would the chart not show it if it's all on-chain data?
It's CoinGecko, right? Like CoinGecko might not show the entirety of what happened. Let's go back to like Jan 21 and see what happens. So like, I don't know if this is accurate. I'll have to go. But basically, you saw a summertime pump of all of these DeFi coins. And to answer your question, and I don't know if there was their question in here that you were like specifically trying to hone in on. There was a period of immense speculation where a lot of tokens did extremely well, and then there wasn't, which you can say the same thing for almost everything in each cycle.
Yeah. Well, so I'm betting, I mean, how many times do you have to say NFA on the show? But like, I'm betting that we're early in this cycle still, right? Mm-hmm. That like, even if it's not as long lasting as DeFi Summer, like over that many months, it's only been like really 2 weeks. Like Pepe's only been a thing for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So who knows, right? Like I know that one thing that I am keeping in the back of my mind is that like we've seen with NFTs, the window on like the pumps and dumps, or the window on the initial pumps, has gotten like shorter and shorter and shorter. So, I think as people get more sophisticated to the fact that like everything's a potential Ponzi scheme that can like rug at any minute, I think people get more and more careful and wary.
Yeah.
and like, you know, again, to your point, you now have DeFi Summer as like a case study to look at. So you can say, okay, this is definitely like going to have a window of time when it makes sense. And then beyond that, it's just, yeah, maybe done.
Yeah.
But the other thing to throw in here is like, I do actually, and this might be total and dumb, just idiocy. This might be lunacy. This might be the mental illness that everybody refers to in the space. I do actually sort of buy into the narrative that Pepe coin could overtake Shiba Inu, or at least be as big as Shiba Inu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I look, the people that are here that aren't, I think everybody here has some aspect of degen lunacy in them, because we operate in an industry where some of the top tokens in the entire space are Shiba Inu and Dogecoin. So you can sit up here and be like, you know, it's literally the top assets in the space have no fundamental backing. So we can't sit up here and say like this business is making a certain amount of money and therefore the team is really the ones behind this. Like that's Shiba didn't pump on that, but Doge didn't pump on that.
This is where it gets into memetics, right? It's literally just about culture and about these ideas and these beliefs that may or may not apply any sort of logic at all, but they become self-replicating.
Here's
and I mean, Pepe definitely is. I mean, you just look at the internet. It's like it has replicated itself in so many ways. Some good, some bad, some ugly, but it just replicates.
So here's a couple different looks at some larger tokens, right, in the DeFi space. So I've got Chainlink, I've got Yam, and I've got Synthetics, all of which were like pretty heavily traded DeFi tokens. So you can see like this is the area that we were talking about with DeFi Summer, where in May these were like, this was the run up where people got in really early, right? Like the same thing we're seeing with Pepe, where it's like, I turned $5 into $1 million. You started to see that with projects like Synthetics, right? So you're in 2021 here, early 21. And then Yam, you probably see the same thing. You were in it in December or January, you bought, and it ran up over that period of time. Yam did some weird things. Like you can see I'm Yam version 3 right now. So it's not as easy to see, but something like a Chainlink is another great example. Chainlink has survived through Chainlink and Synthetics both are still, huge tokens in the space, but you can see that, that they're not doing that well now, although it probably mirrors a lot of, the space in general. But you can see again, I bought Chainlink for $1 or I bought Chainlink for 50 cents and it ran up to, right, $50 in May, and this was the height of it, right? Like Chainlink chart gives you a great look at middle of May or late May. It really is just running, right? That was DeFi Summer, and there's a million others.
I'll tell you how crazy I am about this right now, and like I'm looking at the charts on Turbo and Pepe right now, and I'm saying, dude, I almost want to go floor more of my NFTs and just move it all into, because like, again, I'm betting that we're a little bit early in this cycle still, and that there's going to be more upside. And these things are already like dipping hard this morning. So again, not financial advice, but I'm literally here like itching. Like, dude, if I can even get like a couple more ETH of liquidity, like I might just go even further into these things. And it might be the worst decision ever, but like it also might be the best decision ever, because if there's still upside on these things, they can go crazy.
Do we want to talk about the ape?
It's up to you, man. I've already been very transparent on a recorded space about it. You know,
it's truly up to you.
I don't know. Honestly, it's not that fun to talk about, because it kind of hurts. Like it was a very like I talked to you about it several times before making the decision. I was very conflicted about it. But we're already talking about it now. So it's going to be an interesting case study, because it's gonna go one of two ways, right? It's gonna either work out and be like a really bold, ballsy move that like I made a call and it was smart, or it's going to be absolutely awful and like one of the worst things I've ever done in my life, frankly. And
well, here's the thing: if you're in this space long enough, like so in 2016-17, I didn't have any money. I was starting to work at ICO Alert early, but didn't have much money. Wasn't in the space really full time at all. at the end of that cycle or in the middle of it when it was hyped up, I had like 350 grand. To me at the time, I was like, oh my God, I am a trillionaire. Like to me, that money might as well have been $5 million. And by the end of it, I had like done not a full round trip, but basically almost, right? So like that's how this space operates. Nobody catches the top. If you do, that's the 0.01% that you see. And really, again, I go back to my rules that we talked about, long term. It's just survival. Can you stay in this space long enough? And that's the only thing I would say to that is like, if you're looking at spending more NFTs, make sure that you have also another bag that gets you right to the end of whatever this bear market is. So here, let me show quick others for those of you out there. We're touching on Memecoin Summer. Is there going to be a Memecoin Summer? Well, let's look at DeFi Summer again. Uniswap was. It's cool going back and seeing this too because it's almost like a history book almost. But if you see like early 2020, like November, I think was around the airdrop time. This was a huge rocket boost for the liquidity that's needed. In the same way you see meme coins popping off right now, of the rocket boost or the flywheel effect that you see, because a ton of people made a lot of money on Uniswap and started to spend more and more on other coins, and that's what you see, that flywheel effect that goes into other tokens. But you can see the same chart, right? About middle of May, that's DeFi Summer, and you still see it all the way throughout. Uniswap obviously being a bigger player. And then here's Sushi Swap, same thing. So you're starting to understand, like, here are all the DeFi tokens, and the charts look almost exactly the same. Here's Synthetics again, one of the big winners of that. If you were a Synthetics Spartan, so are you muted?
How's my connection? Because I keep getting an alert.
You're good.
It's like not a good connection.
You're
all right.
Good.
So yeah, if we're looking at this as like this is the sort of best example of what we may be looking at here, then you would bet that this is going to be maybe a big mover for like the next month, and then it's going to kind of trail off, right? So that's it, man. Like to me, I'm trying to make moves right now as I feel like we're kind of at the frontish end of this still, maybe like on that way up or like halfway up or something. And yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I feel good and like, maybe take some profits. And then, maybe I let some of them ride because there are some more pumps maybe coming throughout the summer or something. But like, I don't know. I'm definitely not looking at this right now as like, I'm going to hold these things for a long time. That's absolutely not the play here. This is trading. Trading is a different thing from collecting or investing. I think a lot of people get confused between investing and trading, and that causes them immense harm and damage. They get wrecked because they think that that this is investing. This is straight up trading.
I will, give more shout outs here to the people who experience the NFT cycle. This is some of people's first time experiencing some other type of like, again, it's like a kind of a mini cycle. I wouldn't even call it a part of a cycle right now. But this is some people's first experience with like degen shitcoin trading being the primary driver of interest happening in Web3 right now. And it totally is. And this is what existed before NFTs. And then NFTs actually, what's funny enough, co-opted the narrative, or co-opted what they were trying to do with meme coins. They took it one step further. Now you had tokens that had a fixed supply, and it just like the amount of multiples people were receiving it kind of looked like DeFi Summer. And that's where guys like Kobe come in and can call NFTs JPEGs or shitcoins with pictures, right? That's the meme that we're seeing now.
Yeah, and again, all of this factors into my decision to basically floor my ape. There, I said it. I made a big bold move. I floored my ape after holding it since inception, since they were minted. It was a very hard decision, but I'm trying to move with like the current meta and like I think where the mentality and the momentum of the market is at right now. And I think that having that liquidity to play with has the opportunity to 2, 3, 4, 5x right now. And then I do see liquidity moving back into NFTs. So like that would be my plan. Like I would want to make these moves, make some money, and then buy, like, sweep some floors of projects that I really love. You know, like that would be my plan, is to actually, you know, exit some of these projects now, get that liquidity, make some good plays, hopefully, and then, you know, I'll be set up to hopefully buy back in as the market starts to turn around in the next, hopefully, couple months. I mean, if I'm being optimistic, I could see, you know, at some point over the summer, maybe NFTs start to get more interest for different reasons and liquidity start to come in. I just don't see it happening right now. Like right now, I see NFTs suffering from a lack of liquidity, everybody wanting to get out or move into other things. And so I just think that that's the meta and that's the trend right now. But I do see, like, I don't think NFTs are dead. Like, I just think that this is part of the cycle. I think this is part of understanding the bigger market. And so that's my bet. That's my plan. And yeah, Prodigy talking about how, you know, both Pepe's down, so I'll say this again. Apologies. This is fucking, it's a broken record, but none of this is financial advice. We have to say it a million times because like this shit's super fucking risky and we're not financial advisors. Yeah. We're just talking about cool shit on the internet that we are interested in right now. Pepe and Turbo are the two that like stand out to me right now as like the strongest narratives. So I'll just say that right now.
Yeah. And so the Pepe narrative is the same like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu narrative, which is that it's this huge meme and people are going to trade it speculatively and all this stuff. The Turbo coin, which I actually bought at point, you know, obviously 0.008, right? So I bought it there. It ran up 3x and up to like 0.30 of that. Again, I'm using, you know, ridiculous numerals here because of how, you know, little value each token represents, but it ran up 3x. Now it's gone below price. But the Turbo token does, in my opinion, if we're talking, again, we're in the realm, in the relative talking about meme coins. Obviously it's going to sound ridiculous to a project where you're looking at like the team and what they've, you know, the potential, you know, fundamentals of a roadmap and them, you know, hitting on all that stuff. Well, within the realm of meme coins, it being one of the first that was created through AI, right? Or with the help of AI was the narrative I bought into. I was like, this makes a ton of sense. It's something that can have long-lasting narrative for me. So that's why I was in.
Yeah. So to your point, Pepe to me is just like a straight up bet on internet culture. Just like the power of the meme doesn't have to make sense. It's just like Doge, Shiba. And then Turbo Toad or Turbo is like AI meets internet culture. So it's like AI generated internet culture. It's the novelty of using AI to create a roadmap or a plan and an execution model for a token and create, like, also attach to it a new character that's like a derivative of, you know, popular internet memes like the frogs, right? So it's like internet culture meets AI in a moment when AI is super hot. So it's just like, these are the two narratives that seem to stand out to me the most and where my biggest bags are. And that's why it's like, I'm watching these floors right now. And I'm like, dude, not financial advice, but this seems like a buy right now to me.
So, I mean, you heard it here. We talked about it on the GM Web3 show, the Twitter spaces that we host on Web3 spaces every morning, or Gifted, you know, valiantly hosts, and he has a round table of co-hosts. But, you know, we talked about it. And now he's bringing it up on NFT Live. He did sell his ape for essentially, again, there's all these things you can throw out of why and all this stuff, but it was liquidity. It's like it's worth a certain amount of money, and it's liquidity at the end of the day. Like if you see a risk or a bet that's risky but also has a potential for reward, sometimes you use liquidity to obviously get into those trades and those at some type of size that makes sense. You know what I mean? So that's the idea. So there was a tweet that I saw out there where it was like a picture of like maybe 14 or 15 apes that was saying these are the apes that have been floored in the last X amount, and they all went into Pepe. And I was like, that can't be Gifted's ape. You know, that can't be Gifted's ape. But I can't seem to find it. The only one that actually comes up when I type floor ape or floor apes is my old bubblegum bunny ape, unfortunately. So
yeah, well, on that note, I'm not alone, right? Like this is like the meta right now. A lot of people are seeing this for what it is, and they want to ride this wave. And yeah, everything Choin is saying, agree with. Cam Taylor, shout out to you too. I know you've been through some big swings and up and downs with NFTs, and excited to get you more in the convo on it. But yeah, didn't make the decision lightly. Very tough decision. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I'm not alone though. I know
Yeah.
that other people are doing the same thing. And again, it's like my goal would be to buy back in. If this goes well, I want to buy back in while I think that the floor is still very low. And there's actually a lot of like kind of rare trades or really cool apes that have been on the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you traded up your ape, Q. You know, it's kind of like
I did. Interestingly enough, I want to know what the effect of a flagged ape still has. You know, because as we move away from again the idea of like, hey, this isn't so much a collector's asset as a shitcoin with pictures, all that stuff, whatever people are saying. What does the flagged ape piece have to do with it? Because I did trade up, but it does have that mark, and it's at the time I didn't realize it, but I do still think I got good value.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe if you tried to sell right now, maybe not. You know, but I think we're all still we all still believe that these things do matter and will matter more. You know, one interesting thing to bring into the combo that I've been thinking a lot about is Amazon's marketplace launching in the next month or so. I think Bored Apes is going to be one of the partnered projects. Mm-hmm. What kind of impact does Amazon having an integrated NFT digital collectibles marketplace with Bored Apes on it have? You know what I mean?
We still don't have a time frame for that either. They've been like super hush hush on the exact release date. We were saying May, and then now it's June, which is not good to see. But yeah, what's up?
Well, apparently they've been pushing it off for like a year already. So it seems like at least we're getting closer to it. But you know, they're taking their time. They want to do it right. Speaking of, you know, I don't know if we want to hit this real quick, but Our Force 1, the first big Nike drop, was delayed a week. So that looks like May 15th. Do you want me to share all these tweets? I got a bunch of tweets I can share with you.
Of course. I'm looking at this tweet here. Artifact and Nike Air Force One forging event is live, featuring Takashi Murakami. First ever Air Force One collaboration. Reminder: the forging event will run from April 4th until May 8th. So that's an ongoing event currently. And then we also have the announcement from Nike that the Our Force is pushed.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to hit some comments here, and then we're going to get to continuing to cover the Web3 NFTs. The prices, honestly, are something that's going to be a topic of conversation. Cam Taylor saying it's gambling, well-calculated gambling. We need to take profits and make sure we pay taxes depending on risk, tolerance, and if you're okay with losing and all. And I ended the GM Web3 show by saying that, right? Like in my time in the space, there have been a lot of people who have made a good amount of money, some which I know, and some which, I just know through Twitter and have just been interacting with through Discords and Telegrams. And really the people that make it are the ones that, go pretty heavy on a concentrated bet. And then what you get is they end up cashing out, and people are saying, how did that person make it? It must have been so easy for them to do that, when really the emotional and all that stuff, the psychological stuff that plays into taking that big of a bet is what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you pay for. And then if it pays off, that's where you end up. And people say it's luck and all of these things, but it's really, it comes with a price. And that's what it takes. And I've learned that through blood, sweat, and tears as well.
I'm absolutely just trying to separate myself from that emotional element. And like, it's, anyway, I sent you some tweets.
Yep.
On some of these recent updates and headlines.
All right, hit the Nike one.
All right. So this is an interesting development that may be associated with the delay. So I'm not sure that this is confirmed, but apparently Tom Sachs was a Nike partner that may have been included in the drop somehow, that they have distanced themselves from, at least for the time being, based on some recent allegations. I don't know the exact details of Tom Sachs's allegations, but there are allegations. And so this may have contributed to Nike needing to pivot away from incorporating him in some way. That's part of what we're speculating here. But either way, the headline, if you want to pull up the Nike tweet, is basically their first big NFT drop that I am on the list for. I got one of their posters. We were showing those off. They're really cool. Their first big product launch, Web3 product launch, Nike branded, is Our Force One, and it has been delayed a week. So it's looking like May 15th is now the drop date. So we will be covering that. I'm going to try and get in on that. People have been talking about, like, are you still minting NFTs or getting into NFTs? I am, where I think it makes sense. I did sweep the floor on Nakamigos a little bit. Of course, it keeps going down. It's like, dude, the floor on Nakamigos is now like 0.16 or 0.15 or something. So yeah, if your buy price was at 0.23 or whatever Q, like, I'm just saying, like, that might be a good move. But again, who knows? But I did buy 4 Nakamigos at like 0.2, 0.21. Again, already down on that bag. But hey, at least I got some skin in the game on the Nakamigos. And yeah,
you're not down about it on those at all. 0.79, that's not bad.
Yeah, not yet, but we'll see where it keeps going from here, right?
Yeah. I'll join you on this run here. I said Nakamigos, man. 0.15, 0.2. That was my entry price, so it just entered that price. So here we go.
Gat Trap saying, y'all talk like you think Kanye coin would be a top 10 shitcoin. I don't know what that means. Maybe.
All things are open.
Yeezy. I mean, I actually think that a Yeezy token would do very well. now that you mention it, it probably would.
Dude, we went through the old school, the like 2012 through 2014 CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko charts. It was bullshit. It was all bullshit. Like that's what. How are we not getting to that point where we understand? Like, do you want to be right? Do you want to make money? Any token can go to those levels.
I think what's amazing about Kanye is that, despite the absolutely horrible things that he's done and said, I think like, people still value his brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's a controversial opinion. Like, he's done and said some fucked up stuff. Like, let's be clear. Like, Kanye West deserves, like, I'm not into cancel culture, but like, as far as people that have done shit that make you be like, yo, this guy needs to stop. Like, he's up there on the list of people that need to stop. And yet I still actually think that his brand, his image, his name holds a lot of fucking weight. And that's an actually very, very impressive thing, to be honest. And I'm just being honest. Like, So I actually think a Yeezy token would probably do really well. Anyway, that's a weird tangent that we went into. But yeah, you have the other Nike tweet. I don't know if you want to show it, but if not, that's okay. We kind of hit it.
I didn't.
Nike Our Force One delayed. That's the news headline there.
Is that the .swoosh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. May 15th. So this is from .swoosh, obviously the collection Twitter profile. The Our Force One launch is delayed by 1 week. First access sale begins on May 15th. That's going to be this weekend. And then general access sale begins on May 17th. So yeah, got that one. I appreciate you dropping that. Hey, we got a couple other quick news headlines I want to touch on, and we got some comments that we want to hit as well.
All right, Gat Trap's like, yo, for real, bro.
Blocking him.
Dude, seriously, bro. Like,
we're gonna ask you nicely one time. That'll be it. That'll be the one time. All right, I'm gonna move to. So based on a comment that Choin is saying I was looking at Nakamigos, but Gas stopped me. So this is from statistics. With Gas high, NFT volumes tumbled again over the weekend. OpenSea did just 2,200 ETH of volume on Saturday, and Blur had fewer than 1,000 unique buyers for the first time in a day. Gas prices have come down a bit, and new blend projects today, so perhaps we'll get some reprieve this week. So if you look at it here, again, this goes back to, I'm thinking, February, middle of February, you can see we're in like peak Blur euphoria there. You can see the run down all the way when it comes to volumes on these platforms. If you go to Blur unique buyer wallets per day, that is going to be, so this is actually February, and this is back to its creation in November. So we're at like creation level with Blur on unique buyer wallets, and daily average gas you can see on Blur. So I would almost 100% attribute this to gas. That's basically like my take there on the narrative. Like, yes, we're already in a time where NFTs aren't being traded pretty heavily, but we're going to see more and more if gas is going. All right, so what did it say? Usually people that don't know instruments and are making it really free. Yeah, I just think it's like, what narrative are you preaching, and what basis do you have on to be saying some of the things you're saying? So that's what I'm doing. So I just blocked him. All right, we're good. Any last takes for Got before we block his ass?
Nah, man, just wishing you the best, bro. It's, you know, we don't need a bunch of people without any real context on who we are, you know, coming in and casting those types of stones. I don't think it's helpful. So yeah,
It's what we deal with.
that's it, man. That's the internet.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so I've got a couple others that I want to touch on. But Troy is saying I was looking at Nakamigos. Gas stopped me from moving. Heads up, there was a bunch of Nakamigos recently floored from a wallet who scammed owners on Twitter. We still got people. Could you imagine just like in the midst of everything that's going on, just getting scammed, just like on top of all of that, getting scammed on Twitter? We still got people getting wrecked out here, man. Wild
I'm
West.
horrified of it happening with the altcoins and the shitcoins, because a lot of those contracts can be compromised too. And I've definitely degened into a couple smaller coins, you know, that like may or may not be good. But I mean, that's again where trying to look at DEX tools and understand a little bit about like what makes a project more reliable than another project. You know, that's where it comes in handy. Hopefully, like, I haven't made any crazy mistakes with the things that I've been buying, but it's possible that you can be buying and trading altcoins and shitcoins and be exposing yourself to risk, right? So yeah, man, scams still be scamming. Still the Wild West.
That's another like wallet hygiene piece. I'd love to hear people's takes that are here that are more experienced, right? That have been trading for a while. What are some like wallet hygiene hacks, or like, I guess hacks are probably the wrong word there, but like tips that you would have? Because one of the ones that I use is often going to like CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, these sites that, unless they get fully compromised, will have the token contract address as the one that you want to put into Uniswap. And again, this is not financial advice. The other thing you could do is go into whatever website that project actually has, or that white paper, and be able to say, hey, this is the contract address. Because that, again, that's what you don't want to get, is like some type of token contract be not the official token contract, and either you're trading for a token that is not the one that you want to be trading for, or it's a malicious token contract that will lead you open to being exposed there.
Can you TLDR that for the people in the back of the class?
Yeah, I mean, super TLDR, right? Like every token is going to have its own. I guess Bitcoin is probably the wrong example there, but if you go to a token like an ERC20, maybe like
Shiba,
Uniswap, for example, like each one's going to have a token contract here where you can click to copy, and you'll use that and input that into Uniswap. If it's already on these token listing sites, that's a way that you can make sure that you don't have some type of scam. Like the last thing I would do is like look on Twitter and like on my timeline be like copy pasting address.
Like that makes sure that you're using the proper address, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the contract is safe, right? Like that's only one step.
True. Like, yes, but one of them is testing for you not getting scammed by some third party, and the other is like, oh no, you got rugged by the entire project. You know what I mean? Like that's, you can have a fake, turbo token contract be thrown out there, and you buy it and it leaves you exposed in some type of way. So the other situation being turbo token itself rugged. In that case, yeah, you're screwed. Like, good luck. You made the wrong choice.
Yeah, that is the danger. But again, I think this is where understanding things like what does it mean to renounce a contract or to lock up a liquidity pool, how, like, what's a normal liquidity pool for an early project? What's the total number of holders that you want to see in an early project? Like, for instance, if you're getting in really early on something and it's got less than 100 or like 1,000 holders,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or if there's not more than like 10 to 20 ETH at least in the liquidity pool, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, again, the Dex Tools website does a pretty good job of like summarizing all this, giving it a score of how risky it is with their like Dex score or whatever.
All right, so I want to give a shout out real quick to Starlordy. He just followed and liked the NFT live for today. So Starlordy, if you're here, man, we'd love to get you on the show in various fashions. We have a Twitter Spaces that we host every morning. We have NFT live, and I will make an announcement here at the end of the episode on a recent like recorded podcast that is going to come out this week. We're gonna revamp the Nifty Q show that you all love, and we're getting the first episode out this week.
Don't tell me that's an announcement of an announcement that
I
you
love
just
those.
gave.
I fucking love those. Those are my favorite. That's how the space operates. What do you mean? I'm just following the meta. Choin is saying also follow the Twitter account when you know it's official. Can't fake a follow. There you go. Bookmarking is another tool you can use. Like, I bookmark Uniswap so that I'm not getting fooled. Like, Google is one where I would be, or Google or Bing or whatever the hell, I would make sure that you bookmark whatever is the official account, because you can get, hit. I've seen a ton of people get hit by like the ad link on Google, because often they'll show the ad first and then you get screwed by going to the wrong, platform in the first place. Cam Taylor saying, if selling Yuga stuff and playing with coins is a strategy to consider, what do you guys think about the short and medium term value of other Yuga assets? Thinking of taking profits on my Yuga assets. Really good question there. Again, this comes back to, I love the evolution of this space, but there's something like primal in me. Like, this type of like move left to right with like, moving into a Yuga asset or out of a Yuga asset. Do you move into USDC? Do you move into ETH? It's fascinating to me because that was really all there was back in the day, unfortunately. But now there's this blossoming NFT space that we could do a lot of cool shit with. And I'm excited for that too. I've heard this Choini guy is pretty cool. Dick Florian. Yeah, I think he is. Met him in person, actually.
I'm curious what the great news that Hash Rhymes is referring to. And yeah, Justin Casey's on point with that recommendation about just using a new wallet. And of course, only using money that you can lose. I may or may not be following that guideline to the T. But anyway, I like Cam Taylor's question. Again, I don't know how much we want to get into the Yuga show. But, we always talk a little bit about what's going on with Yuga. I think, to me, the question is like, do you want to be in the ecosystem long term? Like, do you still want to be in the other side? And do you want to have land? Do you want, like, you know what I mean? And if so, is your plan to sell now with the hopes of buying back in at a lower price, or to use that liquidity to try and like make more? These are the questions that you have to answer. And these are the questions that I'm answering for myself, because I'm literally sitting here right now. Like, I might dump some more Yuga assets right now just to get liquidity and put them into fucking PEPE and TURBO, because of the way that they're moving right now. Like, personally, again, not financial advice, I think that they're in a buy territory right now.
Yeah.
But I could be super fucking wrong. I could be exiting at the bottom of the market, losing, potential tons of wealth when things do turn around. That's the risk. That's the calculus. So
I think you've already put a ton in, you know what I mean? Like, that would be mine. Like, you're already super exposed. Like, that's my thing. It's like, if you're 80% exposed or 60, 70% exposed to shitcoins, it's like, you want to like, it's already a risk to be in NFTs.
And yet I've already heard you say several times today, Q, that the way that a lot of people do it and do it well is they go really heavy on like one or two bets.
Yeah, well, heavy to me is like, if you're 50K exposed to an asset that you're thinking like is going to do well, like that, even a 2X, you made 100K. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you take that next, again, like, this is just, kind of semantics with like how people trade and things like this. But to me, 100K, 150K move, allows you to then roll a 30K here, roll a 40K here. It's the people that think that $200 is going to make you some type of wealth in this space that it kind of makes me, and that sounds kind of cringe, honestly, coming from me. And coming from anybody saying, oh, what privilege do you have that $200? Dude, I took all the $6,000 I had when I first got into this space. You know what I mean? Like I was 24, and didn't have a ton of, or 20, whatever, and didn't have a ton of money, but I leveraged to the tilt of what I had. You know what I mean? So, I guess the point I'm trying to make is I think you're already pretty exposed when you're in that $40,000-$60,000 category. I mean, that's all relative, So that's.
I just dropped the Turbo Toad official Twitter in the chat if you want to put that in the chat for anybody who's curious, because it looks like at least Prodigy is asking where by Turbo. So yeah, that should have all the proper links. Watch out for scam accounts. There, I saw one of those Turbo Toads, plural. That's not the real one. This is the right Twitter account. So I at least
not
know
financial
that.
advice. Do not.
NFA. Nothing here is. Yep.
So I just want to have a very small little piece of info just based on Cam Taylor's question again. Right now, and this was a lot of the conversation I had with Mike Finch, who's the first guest on the yet to be named podcast or yet to be announced podcast name. We talked a lot about, the idea of where do we see the narrative going in the next 6 months to a year. And he also had the quote of, concentration builds wealth, diversification protects it. And I think that really encapsulates what we were trying to say is you need to really concentrate a good amount of money into something to make a good amount of wealth. But
high conviction.
Yes.
Where do you have high conviction?
Yeah. So again, wrapping up, because I want to get from you, and I feel like I'm on a pedestal right now, but his take, and one that I do agree with, is that NFTs are usually lagging behind ETH. So stacking ETH right now is actually the better play than stacking NFTs. What you'll see is likely a run up with NFTs, and then you'll see that money move back into, strong assets. If you're holding an NFT that's not very, quote unquote strong, even if we see another NFT run, there's a good chance that it might not, do well. So
I agree with all that, and that's kind of why I'm feeling this way right now. Is because if I'm being totally honest right now, I think NFTs are going to continue to suffer for another couple months, maybe 2 months.
So why buy the Nakamigos?
I thought they were getting I had a price range in my head. I was kind of sticking to it, and I thought it was a decent price. Honestly, again, they're already down, so you're right. It was dumb. But I in my head, I wanted to be in Nakamigos. I had a price range in my head. It seemed like it'd come down quite a bit, but I think it's probably going to go down more. If I'm being honest, I think right now, NFTs are going to keep going down for a little bit longer. And then to your point, you're going to have to see the shift from altcoins, shitcoins over to ETH, see that market ETH and Bitcoin start to really, pump. And then after all of that takes place and people are feeling a little bit richer, there's a little bit more liquidity, and then they're looking for what's the next opportunity. And NFTs at that point are so beat down. I think that's when you start to see shit pick back up, right? So if I'm just being totally honest, that's where I think things are at. And so that's why I'm, and getting back to Cam's awesome question about what to do with Yuga, I feel the one, okay, well, I'll say this, the one sort of what am I trying to say? The variable that might change this that I cannot control for is Yuga coming out with more big announcements, right? So we're losing Q here, but that's the one thing that I can't control for that would totally change the current trajectory or what I believe is happening with the NFTs, at least in the Yuga ecosystem, is if they come out with some big announcements that I didn't foresee, that for some reason do a big pump or really create a lot of new interest. But other than that, I feel I'm still sensing it's a seller's market, it's a trader's market, right? I think people are still selling. I think liquidity is going to keep to go out for a while as low as things are. I don't think it turns around for a couple months.
I missed the first part of that, but I think you were saying that if they come out with big announcements for the other side, that's like, that could run up.
That's one variable, right? That like might change how Yuga is behaving right now, or like I can't predict, or that would change my thesis on where we're at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I disagree with I feel myself disagreeing more with Andy's takes these days. I don't know why, but I don't agree with the fact that like CryptoPunks are a better buy at this. I think they're the safer buy, because again, I think the point that he made was great, was that the CryptoPunks are CryptoPunks. Like, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. The provenance exists, and they just exist as art, or they exist as this provenance. Yuga and BAYC and Mutants and other side, they're all dependent on somebody actually hitting on a lot of the things that they're trying to hit on, which is all we've seen. So I think BAYC has a way higher ceiling than CryptoPunks, although they've operated in lockstep a lot of times.
Yeah, and I also disagreed with people saying that punks are the only NFTs that are going to be like museum quality or respected by established art curators and museums. That's like, to me, saying that Michelangelo is the only artist that mattered or something. It's like, there are so many different, like, the art world is not monolithic, right? There's a lot of big curators, different art movements, different types of galleries, different types of museums, and they're all showcasing different movements at different times, right? So it's like, to think that punks are the only ones that are going to have any sort of place in museums, and that Bored Apes aren't going to also have some place in the conversation of like high-end digital art, given what they've done, I think is kind of ludicrous and short-sighted. There's just so many different levels and tiers and areas and, disparate parts of the art world that can celebrate different types of art for different reasons. While I think that CryptoPunks do hold up that sort of like high-end collectors mentality, there's also the like retail high-end collector. You know what I mean? Just like there's the Louis Vuitton sneaker that sells for $700. There's the new Adidas human Pharrell collab that sells for $300 or $400. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know that that's the best analogy. I just think that it's kind of crazy for people to be thinking that Bored Apes aren't gonna have some kind of like respect in this movement, that they are literally like, dude, Yuga Labs, because of Bored Apes, is responsible for like anywhere between 25 to 50% of all volume in the NFT space. Yeah, at any given time.
That being said, to Cam Taylor's question, I would give a serious thought about selling a lot of my Yuga assets if I wasn't staking. And this is a very important piece as well for me, is because I'm literally getting, or people that are staking are literally getting paid to hold an asset. It's that simple. Like, there's not a lot of NFTs out there that you can say that for. And so if you're staking a BAYC or a Mutant, or staking in the ape only pool, although I guess that doesn't make sense because I'm talking about specifically NFTs. If I wasn't, or people aren't getting paid for NFTs, they have a much different decision to make than if it wasn't happening. I do, because again, instead of saying, okay, I'm not getting paid to hold this, so if I swap into ETH, I could potentially hold ETH and that will be the better performing asset. Now you operate under the pretext of, I'm getting paid an ape to hold this. It changes the equation completely, in my opinion. And that's again why some people are making the decision of like, I'm going to hold this ape, which I agree with.
Yeah, but I'll also just remind people, if you're outside of the US, you can stake ape without an NFT. So yes, the APY is lower,
twice as low.
Opportunity cost. That's the name of the game right now, guys. So anyway, is that extra $50 or $60 a day worth it enough to be sitting on the sidelines? That's the decision that a lot of people are making right now. And yeah, Choin is saying that they agree. People love the zero sum game in all this, which has never happened in history. Yeah, there's different strokes for different folks. Anyway.
All right, folks, this is the tweet that we have today. Are you ready for Memecoin Summer? I think we've covered a good amount of that. I mean, we'll stay in that combo as well. But Turbo and PEPE How did blend lending go last week? We'll bring up a couple more points there. And then Oniforce had a pretty big announcement here yesterday, or I guess the last episode, right? That we covered a little bit, but we can kind of continue to figure out. And I just followed you, Oniforce, so got you, Star Lordy. But we're going to cover a little bit of that as well. If you guys could go to this link, I'm going to link it out in chat real quick. If y'all can go to our Twitter profile or this tweet and give it a like, give it a retweet, give it a comment, that would be very helpful. And while you're doing that, if you could like the episode on YouTube, it helps us out a bunch. So yeah, so we got a couple other comments. I'll go into that blend piece real quick. So this was the article from Decrypt. First quarter NFT volumes outpaced Q4 thanks to Blur's token airdrop. If you go in to this piece here, data share with Decrypt by crypto analytics firm shows that NFT trading volume more than doubled in 23 from 1.9 billion worth of NFTs traded in quarter four, 22 versus 2022. Q4 2022 versus 4.5 billion in Q1 of 2023. So we're seeing a pretty strong increase there. Again, 2023 being 1.9, and then I'm completely reading this wrong, or it's like all over the place. 1.9 bill was traded in Q4 2022 versus 4.5 in Q1 of 2023. Okay, so I was reading that with you guys and kind of got fumbled, but you can see that has a lot to do, obviously, with the Blur airdrop, but it's still volume. You know, it's still volumes being driven into the NFT market, regardless if it's incentivized or not. We're still, seeing
wash trading. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to look at any of these without having clarity around like the whole wash trading aspect of like how much does any of this matter. I mean, to your point, like liquidity is liquidity, and it definitely like it's probably better to have liquidity than no liquidity.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. And wash trading is the thing. Make sure we're making a difference here. Incentivized trading and wash trading are completely different things. If, for example, I think Jimmy was the one that called them out, and we never really got a confirmation. It's like a behind the scene. Hold on. Jimmy.eth called out Franklin and Machi for trading it back and forth. They're having some social contract. That's actually wash trading. Like, that's the shit.
But that is incentivized trading also. Incentivization in this case, if it doesn't safeguard against wash trading, incentivizes wash trading.
Agreed. But again, it incentivizes wash trading, but it's not like there were people that were just trading to farm tokens that weren't wash trading. Do you see what I mean?
Try and pump a secondary market or some other shit. Yeah. Wash trading to me is wash trading, incentivized or not. But anyway, I saw that it was like cut in half in the last like month or two, and I was wondering like how much of that is because Franklin dipped out.
It's fair too. It's a fair point. Hey, we're still sitting in red here as we get ready to be like in the back half of the episode here. Bitcoin, Ethereum are down pretty heavily. Obviously, we covered PEPE and Turbo as well, which were like the. Is there a third one? Is there a third or fourth? I know you talked about Wojak. I'm in a meme coin called 4 right now. Appreciate Mike Finch for getting me in at the top. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is why I'm really reluctant to talk about any others. I can name a bunch, but like straight up, the only two right now that I like have any conviction in myself around the narrative is PEPE and Turbo. And then there's a bunch of others, and like I am in quite a few others that I almost don't even want to mention. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like they could be scams. I just don't know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like, look, I'll name a couple that I've seen that have like piqued my interest. And again, God damn it, we said it on this episode more than any other. None of this is financial advice. We're not financial advisors. We're just talking about shit. But okay, Riz, P-Hub, Fonzie, what else?
This man was just shit coining.
Oh, Wojak. You mentioned Wojak. Gensler. Good Gensler. So Gensler token. Dude, those are just some of the other ones that I've put like small amounts into just to like, who fucking knows? I'm in early enough that like maybe they 10x or some shit on a small amount. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm not confident in any of them. I'm not confident in anything at this point, but just know that there's two narratives that I think have legs, and that's Turbo and PEPE.
Prodigy saying, explain to me why the network fee is so insane right now. And, and just in case he said good Lord GIF. Um, so have you seen the World War Z episode where the zombie apocalypse breaks out and they're in Philadelphia? If you've seen that, if you have seen that clip, let me know. If you haven't, this won't make any sense. But when the zombie apocalypse first starts, everybody's running away. And what I think right now is happening is maybe a small like micro dip on a lot of these. I call it micro dip. It's just a dip on these tokens. I don't think it's going to be lasting. I think you see a lot of this volatility with these meme coins, but there's a lot of people that think, oh no, this is my time to get out. I totally made the wrong decision. And everybody is trying to do that at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And that is why the network fee is so insane. And at the same time, you have all these Mev bots we've been talking about that are sandwiching orders to try to steal a little bit of money from these people as they go out the door. That's what's happening.
Yeah, the simple answer is that there's a tremendous amount of network congestion because most of these coins are all on ETH. They're all Ethereum-based ERC20 tokens. ERC is an Ethereum standard. So if you're trading an ERC20 shitcoin or meme coin, it's all on the Ethereum network, right? So you've got a tremendous amount of trading, an unprecedented amount of trading right now, all happening. And yeah, it's just everybody's trying to move and make moves at the same time. And to your point, a lot of that right now is people freaking out because they think that, oh no, like I got in and it's too late. I missed my opportunity. I just think that this is, to your point, part of the volatility of these things. And a bunch of people are going to be wanting to buy back in here in another day or two.
Yeah, I agree. We got the gas chart here up as well. So 167 Gwei. Give me just a second, Gift.
Ladies and degenerates, we have some kind of intervention happening over there. Probably Nifty Q's girlfriend is saying that he needs to stop gambling on shitcoins and focus his life on other things.
I just showed up. I sold all my ApeCoin. I sold everything.
Oh yeah, and then Choin is talking about BRC. I meant to talk about BRC20, which is another interesting facet or development around this whole meme coin craze right now. I didn't even get to that, and so maybe we can talk more about that on tomorrow's GM-Web3. But yeah, if you want to hit on that, we can.
So I don't know much about BRC20. I know it's making its rounds. Bitcoin ordinals, like kind of meta of being able to buy and sell these not just Bitcoin but other assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. We'll cover that tomorrow. I do agree. I would like to just wrap up the ETH conversation with telling Prodigy, again, I've been banging on the table for Ethereum. And again, my overall thesis right now is very much in line with Mike's, is that ETH is going to run before NFTs really get back to prominence. Stacking ETH is not a bad idea right now, not financial advice. Another reason to do so is because during high gas prices, that means the network is being used. Guess what's happening to ETH? It's being deflated.
Burn, baby.
So the ETH supply is not increasing, it is decreasing during times of high usage, which again, it runs back into that same CryptoKitties discussion. It's hilarious that we're still having the ETH gas discussion. Like now that I just thought of that, it is blowing my fucking mind. 6 years have gone by and we're still in that same unusable state of Ethereum for any type of like adopted asset. No one's going to pay $40 to swipe their card at Starbucks. And I'm not saying ETH is going to be used that way. Okay. So I don't think
Polygon is, or layer 2, right?
Yeah, you're right. And I will just say ETH is a deflationary asset, especially in times of high usage. And that's what we're going to see in this situation.
You know, on that note, Polygon has been holding around $1 and it's actually dropped closer to 90 cents right now. So I'm just saying I may also be buying more Polygon right now.
Yeah. Again, if I wasn't making, if we weren't having the ape staking, I would think about moving NFTs heavily into potentially like hardcore, altcoins. Like, and when I say hardcore, I mean like the legitimate ones, right? The Polygons you just mentioned, Arbitrum's seen some good growth. These are all at like, pretty bad levels themselves, right? Even BNB, I mean, maybe not BNB, but Ether's at 1,800, Polygon's at 90 cents. What was BNB's all-time high? It's sitting at $300 right now. Yeah, so maybe not BNB. That's surprising to me that BNB is literally at half its all-time high almost. Whereas ETH is like probably 3 times off that, right? It wasn't ETH at like 6K at one point, or did I just make that up?
4K.
It just hit 4,
Yeah.
4,700, so almost 5K.
You're
Okay.
conflating it with Bitcoin, which got to 60K.
Yeah.
69.
69. Of course it did.
Nice.
Decryptolorian is saying Optimism, Polygon, Arbitrum. Those are the bets. Yeah. A lot of tokens on today's call, but that mirrors what's happening in the space right now. I don't know if we have that much to say. I mean, we could go into the market overview here. Do you want to try and give it a go?
Not really, honestly, because I don't think that there's that much interesting stuff, and
Yeah.
I'd rather just go eat food and go do other things and come back tomorrow and see what's happened. And also because honestly, I think I'm gonna go floor some fucking NFTs and
It's not sexy, but we should be stacking a little bit of ETH right now, man. That's what I would say. You're already exposed. He's like, fuck it, dude. I'm going in.
bro, my life is so YOLO right now, like it's crazy. And I hope that I'm here a month or two from now.
Yeah.
I hope I'm still here.
Yeah. It's just balancing, right? Emotional and objective, wallet behavior or portfolio management, I guess, is like, when you do ape in, just make sure that you have some rails as well, like guidelines.
He's addicted. I'm just trying to play. Honestly, like there is parts of me that sometimes feel like, oh, am I just like a gambling addict to this shit? I think that I'm trying to play this wave because I think that there's an opportunity here, and I think at some point the music does stop. You know what I mean? It's like you either do it when you can or you don't, and that's it, man.
Yeah, I mean, the bearish take is right that it's a falling knife, right? You're like, you have a situation where prices got hit overnight and people are thinking, hey, this is a good op. And you try to catch knives and you get screwed. So, yeah, I mean, either way, it can go, up or down. That's the only thing that really, or sideways. All right, we'll wrap up then, and this will be the last comment for the day. Oni Force, I think, although we got the Nakamigos early in the episode, and apparently they're in my buy range, so I might be picking up a Nakamigo here against all of my theory. But Oni Force feels like, and this is the announcement from last week. It said, and on this day, a major partnership was announced, signaling the start of a new era for the Enclave. We are proud to announce our official partnership with Horizen Labs Ventures. May the Oni Force be with you. That was a good one. Good one, guys. Star Lordy, obviously, we want to get on the channel here relatively shortly to just talk on everything. One of those being, again, this Horizen Labs Ventures and what it means, because we were speculating that it means a token. We were speculating that
I think
staking infrastructure, all that stuff.
We did have Art Snitch, who's a little bit of an Oni insider, jump on the show this morning and give at least some sort of vague details.
Vague.
Yeah, but I think he's not going to stray us. Like he's not going to lead us wrong. Like he's a homie and he's very upfront with what he can be, right? So I believe in at least what he's telling us or what he's signaling. And I think what he's signaling is like, I wouldn't anticipate a token anytime soon, but that there's definitely going to be utility, especially IP focused developments happening, and that there may or may not be, some potential for a token that is tied to these different, developments down the line. So yeah, that's what I take. I think that there is potential for a token in the future. I don't think it's anytime soon, but I do expect there to be like some interesting developments over the next couple months coming out of this. Yeah,
I mean, we were here covering that Horizen Labs announcement, and it was sitting at like 0.67 or like 0.62, I think.
Yeah,
and it dumped on the news. 0.67, yeah, and it actually dumped on the news. I would have thought that, based on that news of a potential token, that this would at least drive some speculation like we were talking about.
Yeah, but they're fighting against the bigger market, which everybody's looking for liquidity. This is what I'm saying. It's like, dude, you can't this is, okay, so this is bad. Okay, coming full circle, but it's also just relevant to the whole conversation of like where the market's at and like strategies for trying to cope / survive / make a move and maybe thrive even right now. and Cam Taylor's question about like what to do with Yuga assets. I like even a big Yuga announcement right now. I don't know if that has the power to change the direction of the liquidity. Like it is so hard for me right now to think about like what kind of announcements or developments other than an upfront airdrop of a token.
That's what it
Other
felt like this
than
announcement
that,
was.
but that wasn't what this was.
Yeah, but for the degens that know what's going on here, it's going to look pretty obvious. Is my guess is like, oh, they had that announcement way back in the day. That was,
but that's just making my point. Is that even this, which didn't have clear details on an upcoming imminent token drop, was not enough to change the direction of the liquidity. So what I'm saying is like even a big Yuga announcement right now or development, I don't know that that actually stems the bleeding of the larger NFT space at this moment.
For sure. Look, I'm not advocating for Oni Force to like 2x here. I'm looking at like I thought it might hold. You would think it would go up a little bit. You would just even if that's like 0.05. You know, like I'm not like a couple like 100 buys maybe. You know, I don't know what the floor looks like, but
again, doesn't that prove out the point of like where the momentum's going and like where the focus is right now?
Yeah. I'm totally with you on the thesis. We started this episode saying like I think ETH will pump before NFTs, but this Oni Force seems to me like it's one of those that it's like, Azuki in all of this is doing okay. It's not doing the best, but it's what, sitting at 12, 13 ETH right now? What's Azuki sitting at?
Did it drop? Because it was around like 15 or 16, wasn't it?
Let's see.
Yeah, Azuki's been one of the most resilient projects.
14.7.
Yeah, Azuki's been shockingly resilient to the larger market, downturn and everything that's going on.
It feels like to me like Oni's like one of those Polygon ETH plays where it's like this is going to look so fucking obvious at 0.65 when the market turns around. But again, if you want to hold it in ETH before the market turns around, you probably do better. So, Cam Taylor saying you are smart to wait this out. Amazon, I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon times their release pretty well, and I would do so. Like I would say, don't launch in May, don't launch in June, launch in like Q4, like start of Q4, start of maybe even Christmas, just launch around then. But so the Horizen Labs Ventures, again, we didn't see much out of it. I'd love to get Starlordy on the channel to talk a little bit of this partnership, but obviously them doing ApeCoin staking, that you're right on that the thesis didn't play out there of you think that this potential token, and they left it open in gray for a reason. They didn't come out and say they're helping us with a Force token, but they left it open and they know degens know what Horizen Labs is. You know what I mean? So interesting that there was still a dip there, but we are in this market right now. Everything's wrecked. So
everything is wrecked.
So my advice, non-financial advice, being in my own life, is probably stacking ETH, man. Like at the end of the day, you can't really do that much wrong with that. This is USD over the last 7 days, folks. So I'll go to ETH as well. Cryptopunks is up. Everything else is pretty much holding. This probably looks worse over the last 2 days. Pudgy's up. Miladies are up.
Pudgy Penguins just signed with WME.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pudgy Penguins just signed with WME, so it's a big announcement for Pudgy Penguins. But yeah, Beans, bro. I was saying Beans were a good move in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So you know what? Called that one. I didn't get any, but
Nouns, Moonbirds, Utes, or actually Moonbirds are down. Nouns, Utes. Utes is probably another one. You look at the chart overall, it looks pretty nice. Comparatively. Other side, against ETH, I'm interested to see this same list real quick, and then we will pop out of here. Cryptopunks is up against ETH. Yeah, it looks like ETH got pretty wrecked here a little bit over the last couple days, which is leading to this maybe looking a little bit better. So about the same. So Beans is up 800%. Jesus. Why is no one talking about beans right now? 800%?
We've been, dude. I keep bringing it up. I've been saying the Azuki ecosystem's probably one of the only good bets right now.
Utes about the same. Yeah. Okay. So NFT is not that wreck, but in USD value because ETH's dropping as well.
Marty, I can't. All right, I'm done. I'm done for the day.
This is also a great take. Horizen Labs also did the Zed Run token. We were trying to figure that out, right? Like they have a portfolio of companies they work with.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you bringing that up, Cam, because we were trying to figure out what other tokens they work with. I mean, it's very clear to me that Oni's going in this direction. So I'll have to pick up some Nakamigos or Oni Force here relatively soon, but it goes against the thesis. It's
this guy's been saying it. He's been saying it for literally months. But you know what? Maybe if enough people here smash the like button on this episode right now, NiftyQ will actually pull the trigger and buy a Nakamigo and an Oni Force NFT.
I said Nakamigos when it got into my range, which it just fell under 0.2.
Smash the like anyway.
Okay. All right, folks. We will be back tomorrow. Do we have anything special on GM Web3 show other than...
It's always special. I don't
know
what kind of a question is that, bro?
I don't know if we had a special guest or...
What? It's the greatest morning show on Twitter.
I can't tell if Gita's actually mad at me right now. So I'm going to end the episode and we're going to see him tomorrow and hopefully he's still here. So I'll see you guys later. I'll vibe our tribe. Peace out. Thank you guys. All of it. See you tomorrow.